Good afternoon all and welcome to Eindhoven. It's the City of Lights hosting one of the brightest early starters in the Dutch top flight. I'm Matt Blackburn with unofficial off-tube commentary of the champions PSV against FC Groningen. And it's match day 3, but Groningen already have 6 points from 6, whilst PSV have 4 and still searching for their first league win at home. The champions against one of the division's perfect starters, and Eindhoven is almost ready. PSV's season began with a jolt. AZ beat them 4-0 in the Shield before Fortuna Sittard came here and snatched a 2-2 draw with a 92nd minute equaliser. Last weekend finally brought the first competitive victory, 2-1 at Excelsior, with Ruben van Bommel and Ricardo Pepi scoring. But Peter Bosz is rebuilding the heart of his side in real time. Ismail Saibari left for Bayern Munich in a club record sale. Captain Jerdy Schouten is recovering from a cruciate ligament injury, and this week Joey Veerman joined Borussia Dortmund after 4.5 years and 8 trophies here. PSV won a third straight league title, scoring 101 league goals and finished a record 19 points clear. But the midfield behind that dominance suddenly looks very different. Groningen could hardly have started better. Dick Lukien's side beat Utrecht 2-1 and then went to ADO Den Haag and won 4-1 themselves, registering 14 shots on target. Tom van Bergen already has 2 goals and an assist, while Willemsen has scored in both matches. They arrived with 6 points, 6 goals, and confidence is genuine. The recent head-to-head belongs, though, emphatically to PSV. 7 straight wins, 5 straight league wins, but there is a nice wrinkle that Groningen have won only once at the Philips Stadion here in Eindhoven for the away side, who very, very rarely win on their road against PSV in Eindhoven. 3-2, that game was in March 2014, and one of the stars that day was Filip Kostic, who created one and scored another. 12 years later, he could make his PSV debut against his former club. Bosz starts PSV in a 4-2-3-1 formation, making 3 changes with Vanna and Veerman both out, with the former dropping to the bench and the latter making that move to Borussia Dortmund. With new boys Sano and the young exciting Belgian 18-year-old Fernandes coming in, PSV line up with Kovar in goal. Part of that Bayer Leverkusen invincible season, he looks to add more silverware to his name this time around. A back forward of Des Flamingo, Obispo and Junior. Fernandes and Sano occupy the holding roles, with experienced Croatian Perisic joined by 13-goal man last season Till and Van Bommel, who is the son of former PSV captain and Dutch legend Mark, with Pepe, who has 12 goals and 3 assists in 29 against Groningen, leading the line for the home side. Lukien sends Groningen out in a matching 4-2-3-1 formation, making just one change to the side that thumped ADO Den Haag away last week, with Van der Laan dropping to the bench in place of Hungarian centre-back Singer. They start with Suriname goalkeeper Etienne Vassen in goal. A rearguard of Schrouders, Blokzel, Singer and homegrown Prins. De Jong and Land remain the 2 holding midfielders who will be key to trying to hold off the talented PSV attack, that new-look talented PSV attack. Experienced summer free agent from Sparta is on the left of the 3, also featuring Van Bergen and Van der Werf in Clement. And then up top for the away side is Willemsen, who has 2 goals to his name in 2 this season already. Van der Werf, the man we just mentioned, rewarded with a new contract in 2030 following his goal against ADO last week. The referee, Allard Lindhout, assisted by Johan Balder, Murat Kushibert and Ingram Ostrom is the 4th official. Manshot is on VAR alongside Van Julien in the assistant VAR. Manshot, the referee. Groningen's 4-1 win last weekend. PSV won the last 5 league meetings. They scored 20 goals. They've scored 3 goals against this Groningen side in 6 of the last 8 meetings between the 2. And it's going to be a very, very exciting day. Can Groningen finally overturn 12 years of disappointment on this ground? It's been a couple of years since they last beat this PSV side. And we are almost ready. PSV in their red and white striped home shirt, that shirt that they are very well known for, black shorts and red and white striped socks with those red hoops on them. Perisic just taking some water over on the far side. It is 2:30 local time. The away side are going to get us underway in their all-purple strip, going from left to right. Can they pull off an upset here? Can PSV do what they're expected to do? It's a season that has plenty in this division. It won't be as simple this time around for PSV with those changes in their side, but match day 3 in the Dutch top flight is underway on this Sunday afternoon, with Groningen immediately sending it long towards that right-hand side, bringing in Sano. Out of play down towards Clement. Moves it across again towards the left. That purple, lovely purple away kick, just driving forward down the middle with Land, who just had plenty of space to continue to make his run. But now came that very trusty PSV defence as they just look to go long with a rangy ball, but it's intercepted by Blokzel halfway inside his own half. So 40 seconds into this game, 0-0 is the scoreline here. You mentioned earlier the head-to-heads that these two sides have had. It's always gone in the favour of PSV. However you want to look at it, this could be a completely different season though with how Groningen has started. It's laid in towards the area, an opportunity early on here to find a goal, but a superb save from Kovar in his net. It was an excellent run, excellent interchange in with Van Bergen, heading in towards the area. The space that just opened up by Vassen down the right-hand side, laying it in towards Van der Werf. He just put it in towards the edge of the area for Van Bergen to race onto it, and he just tried to lift it over the on-charging Czech keeper Kovar, who got a big strong hand to it, and out for a corner kick. Swung in towards the near post, and it almost confused everybody in red and white, but it was cleared out at the near post, and wasn't the best of corner kicks taken. Groningen at the time, but it was easily dealt with in the end by PSV. But in these opening 2 minutes, it has been the away side who are looking the better on the ball, but they give it away halfway inside the PSV half, who now have the opportunity with Perisic, the Croatian legend, to attack down the right hand side. He just pushes it into space and just takes on Clement with ease. Opportunity to put a ball in towards the box. It's a great ball in, and then the strike from Pepe was left to be desired. He went for the bicycle kick above his own head, who couldn't quite make the connection he would have hoped for, but it certainly showed plenty of confidence in a man that scores plenty of goals against his Groningen side. 12 goals, 3 assists in 29 top flight appearances on loan there in the 22-23 season, finishing as their league top scorer. He scored PSV's winner last weekend. He had an excellent record for the away side, now trying to look to score against them, and almost did with the absolute spectacular. We've seen some exciting results already this weekend in the Dutch top flight. Just coming down the left hand side is Pepe once again, lays it in towards the area, back towards the edge of the area. Strike comes in, takes a deflection on the way out for a corner kick, and the first of the afternoon for PSV. But it was a good run again, laying it in towards Van Bommel in the middle, who tries to take the strike. He just stretched his legs down the left hand side. He saw the opportunity, laid it back in towards the box onto the edge of the area, but then the strike coming in from Fernandez last. Didn't quite have the connection he hoped for, and it ended up actually going out for a goal kick in the end. The referee consulting with the linesman over on the far side of the pitch. It looked like it initially took a deflection on the way through. The linesman pointed, or the referee, sorry, pointed for a corner, but he has been corrected by his linesman over on the far side, which is an interesting one as linesman's flag appeared to go up for a moment. Laid down quickly though by the Groningen keeper, just bowls it out towards Blokzel, trying to get it towards the halfway line, but a solid tackle comes in the middle from Junior, playing a little bit higher up on this left-hand side, wearing the armband. He's the 27-year-old Brazilian in this PSV side. He can play at either side of the fullbacks, also play in midfield where he's tending just to roam inside these early stages. But he's back inside the Groningen half, 5 minutes gone in this game. Groningen looking to keep up their 100% record in the league. PSV, who weren't too happy with how they started the season, trying to look for their first home win here in Eindhoven. It's with those in purple striding again confidently in towards the PSV half, away to our right-hand side. Down on this near right-hand channel is Clement. The experienced summer free signings brought in from Sparta at 30. He's one of the older heads in this Groningen squad. It's packed with players in their teens and their early 20s. So they're trying something different. Groningen this season, but it's PSV attacking over on the far side of the pitch with ease, with Fernandez puts the ball towards the far side of the box, headed back in towards the 6-yard box by Till, but that was read like a book by Vassen in the goal, who just moved himself out of his net and onto the edge of the 6-yard box just to claim that rather comfortably, and that is excellent goalkeeping from the 31-year-old Suriname keeper. He was an outfield player until he was 17 years old, was Etienne Vassen. He only became a goalkeeper after an ACL injury. Now he's Suriname's number one. He's already has an assist this season. The only part of his game, and it's actually the same part as Matej Kovac. The recent penalties that they have had to face, neither have saved any of the last 15 that they have faced. So if there is one this evening, you do tend to favour the strikers. On either side in the opening games, had to come up against a penalty just yet, but his space just opens up on the right-hand side and almost fed nicely in towards Van Bommel by Pepe. Inside the Groningen half, the back four, now a back five for Groningen, just stepping up a little bit too high and almost allowing the space in behind, but for some excellent defending. And in the Dutch top flight, we've seen some good results already. Go ahead Eagles beat ADO Den Haag, who are really struggling to start this season. Go ahead Eagles moving themselves top of the pile at this stage of the season. Zwolle got their first points on the board against Heerenveen by that 2-0 win yesterday afternoon. Also yesterday, Sparta Rotterdam and Utrecht drew 3-3, and AZ Alkmaar also getting a 2-0 win against Sittard. They go ahead with Eagles 2 points behind them, unbeaten this season, but AZ Alkmaar currently top of the pile. The two sides that tend to be up there more than any in Ajax and PSV, both with an early draw. PSV in the season last time around was a rather comfortable one. That record 19-point gap between themselves and second place is just picked off by Willemsen, who's having just to get back inside his own half to try and get hold of the ball inside these early stages. Groningen have had the majority of the possession so far, but PSV looking the most threatening, but here is those in purple moving it down the right-hand side. Esli played it towards the box, towards Willemsen, and Groningen have stunned Eindhoven and taken early lead. And Willemsen, who picked the ball inside his own half to start the play, he started it, he finished it. It was a wonderful ball in the middle by Singer into Land, who just dummied it towards Van Bergen. He had the space down the centre of the pitch. Willemsen kept his run going on the right, pulled in behind, and then confidently just places it down into the bottom right-hand corner of Kovar's goal. It was an excellent first touch just to open the space in front of him and take it away from the captain junior. And the keeper couldn't get down in time, and it's a perfect start for Groningen. The Northern Lights are over Eindhoven. Groningen glow in the City of Light, and PSV are stunned. And the early season surprise package strikes once again. It's a new look PSV side in that midfield. They got done all ends up. A simple dummy just opened up 20 yards in behind that midfield. It allowed Groningen just to attack behind the line. And that's given the away side something that they very, very rarely had. And that is a lead here in Eindhoven. It's PSV 0. Groningen 1. And Willemsen has now scored in all 3 games to start this season. In the league, he's on absolute fire, and you can tell he's got the confidence there. Last season, he had just 6 league goals in 1,217 minutes. Roughly 0.44 if you're counting per 90 minutes. This season, he's got 3 in 190 minutes of football, as it's with PSV trying to make parity restored straight away, and they have, and it's an excellent move down the left-hand side from Van Bommel, and I think it's going to be an own goal. It looked to be Singer who got the final touch. It was poor from those in purple. They've just taken the lead. The space opened up for Van Bommel, who charged in towards the box. He was looking to try and find an instant reply. He picked it up on the near side. He just drove towards the corner of the area, shimmied to the right, moved to the left and took on Schrouders with ease. And as he's pulled it back in towards the box, it's Singer who's tucked it into his own goal. There's nothing he really could have done about it in the end. There was 2 PSV players around him. He tried to make a connection to clear his lines, and instead he's put it into the back of his own net. And inside 11 minutes in this game, it's PSV 1, Groningen 1. And I think it actually was Blukziel was the man who got the final touch on it. Singer looked the most disappointed with his centre-half partner there. But as I say, it doesn't matter which player it was. There's not much they could have done about it. Less than 2 minutes after Groningen have scored, PSV have woken up and found themselves level on terms, and that may be what they needed in this game more than anything. It was Groningen just to wake them up a touch. Still got the ball now down the left-hand channel, trying to find a second to turn this game around rather quickly as the ball in towards Perisic. It's just a little bit too far behind him, just trying to lean back to get the angle on the header. But it goes over the top of the bar. Van Bommel made it on that left-hand side, son of former PSV captain and Dutch legend Mark. And PSV, the reply that they needed. The last time they met here, PSV's won by 2-1 after Groningen led at half-time. Before Saibari equalised and Dennis Mann won it. They've scored 3 goals at least, PSV, against Groningen in 6 of the last 8 games. The last time at this stadium, PSV came away with a 4-2 win in a 6-goal game. Almost exactly the same weekend last season. The 23rd of August 2025 they met last time around, the same day today 1 year later. And it started with the intent to have a very similar scoreline. PSV, they control these games, 1 win. And against PSV in the last 23 and just 1 win in 35 on this ground. But Groningen could instantly find themselves back ahead down the right-hand side, but it's saved again, this time by Kovar. And the frustration as Van der Werf went alone. There was a man towards his left-hand side inside the area, but it was an excellent counter-attack from Groningen, just stretching the legs, moving in towards Van der Werf. He just tried to dummy onto his left and just pushed it to his right. Flamingo tried to get across. Couldn't quite get there, but then the outstretched leg of Kovar just pushing it out for a throw into the frustration from Clements on the other side. He's just waiting for the ball. He would have tapped it in towards an empty net had he been able to receive the pass. As PSV And again, try and get hold of the ball, but those in purple winning it inside the red and white half away to the right-hand side. 15 minutes gone, you're listening to unofficial off-tube commentary. This is the 5th time that they have met in the opening round of the Dutch top flight. Groningen have never won. 2 wins, 2 draws. 2 wins going towards PSV. The most recent was back in 2020. PSV beat Groningen 3-1. So 4 times they have met on the opening day. This is match day 3. But it's always early season games that they tend to find themselves playing. Groningen finishing 9th. Last time around they reached the European playoffs with their 14 wins, 6 draws, 14 defeats, trying to improve on that this season. If they are going to improve, they are going to need to start picking up the results against those that sit in and around the top of the table. PSV with just 4 defeats to their name with that 101 league goals and the 27 wins. It was a routing really of the rest of the league. It was rather comfortable for them. They'll think that they can pick up some results in their next couple of games as well. They've got 2 games on the road after this against Utrecht and Ajax, which is going to be one that everyone will be looking out for on the 5th of September before a home tie against Sparta Rotterdam. But it's with those in red and white with Pepe on the far side of the box, just trying to turn, but he's facing the wrong way and heading it away from goal. Ends up winning a throw-in deep inside Groningen territory over on the far side of the pitch. It's taken quickly and laid down in towards Sana. Back in towards the right-hand side, but an excellent tackle goes in on Perisic to win the ball back, and he's sent to the deck, but PSV win it back again 10 yards off the right-hand corner of the area. Still with PSV driving towards the area. Pepe with the strike, and it hits the stanchion behind the goal. He hits it sweetly, Pepe, from the edge of the area. Here's an excellent darting run in from Fernandes from the right, from the throw-in. It looked like they lost it for a moment with Perisic losing the ball, but then the pocket was picked. On the touchline, in towards Fernandes it went. He did everything right, Fernandes. He then left it in towards Pepe, who timed his strike well, but just couldn't get the direction on it to keep it curling round. And he just rattles off the stanchion behind the goal. Away to our left-hand side, Groningen, we mentioned PSV's next few games. They've got 2 home ties coming up against Fortuna Sittard and FC Twente before an away trip to go-ahead Eagles. And Perisic with the ball, plays it back across the box, and it's blocked off the line, sent back in again, and the keeper scrambling across gets there on the second attempt. And how PSV haven't scored there. The goalkeeper stuck in the netting, the referee just allowing him some time to get out of his goal. But it was Perisic this time down the left-hand side. He beat the keeper to it, played it across the box. The first strike was blocked by a defender, the second then from Versen, getting it back across his goal line. But great work from Perisic, even better from the Groningen defence. It was Singer, the man who got back. To deny PSV turning this game on its head and taking the lead. As a throw-in eventually is taken, and then a free kick immediately goes against Pepe. And Groningen will be able to have a bit of a reprieve. And since they've scored, Groningen, they've been under the cosh. It's what you would expect in a game of this nature. And if they can just find a little bit of time just to try and build the momentum back into their own favour again, just to control the ball as much as they can. PSV starting now to just get in towards their stride. They've only won once in 48 top-flight games here at PSV Groningen. A 3-2 victory in March 2014, the season where they did the double over PSV at that time, which was a fantastic season that they had. It's the same season, it was an absolute classic in that 3-2 game. Memphis Depay opened the scoring inside 3 minutes before a late winner from Groningen sent the few away fans that travelled into delirium. They were in a little bit here at the start of this game. It's PSV again coming on the right-hand side, trying to flick it around the corner. Is Fernandez, and it's sent higher than Bob Marley by Singer, and then bounces in towards the area again. Laid down towards Singer, plays it back across. Oh, and that's an absolute gilt-edged chance. Coming in from the far side, it looked to have been Fernandez stretching out. He got himself in the right position. It was flicked down by Van Bommel, laid across the box by Fernandez. Sorry, it was Pepe coming in at the far post, just outstretching that right leg. And couldn't quite get enough onto it as Groningen tried to play it out from the back, and it's almost gone terribly wrong and then almost went terribly right. For those in purple, the goalkeeper is down inside the box, and there will be a yellow card that comes here for Van Bommel for a late challenge on the goalkeeper, but it was poor really from Groningen. We see it time and time again. Sides that are playing against a side far, far better than in the high pressing, trying to pass it out from inside their own penalty area, just inviting pressure. You lose the ball there, you're guaranteed to give away a goal. But they just about got it out of their own box. And then 2 touches later, they almost found themselves deep inside PSV territory, but for it last interceptive tackle, but the referee in the end came back for the advantage and brings it back for a free kick, of which Vassen again trying to look to play it out. Instead he holds off after PSV race forward, and now he tells the rest of his squad to make their way in towards the PSV half, and that's really where the ball should be for those in purple. The further away the ball is from their own half and penalty area, the better it can only be for the away side. A point would be a terrific result here. We're halfway through the first half, listening to an official off-tube commentary of this Dutch top-flight game between PSV and Groningen. 1-1 is the scoreline. You've joined us halfway into this first half. Williamson opened the scoring on 9 minutes with a tidy finish from the right-hand side of the penalty area before, less than 2 minutes later, Blok-Ziel put it into the back of his own net after a good run from the left-hand side and cross from Van Bommel. Perisic trying to get across it towards the area, but it's just a little bit too close towards Vassen in his goal. And the Croatian legend, who seems to have been the same age for the last 10 years. I've always sworn he's been about 35, 37 for about 10 years or so now since he made that major final back in a few years ago now, once in 2018 that would have been. But he seems to age, same as the others of Modric as well. They don't ever seem to disappear, those Croatians. They seem to still have the legs even as they get towards the late 30s, and it's what we're seeing in modern football. When I was younger, you used to say 30-year-olds were past it and driving in towards the middle. An opportunity for PSV, but Van Bommel couldn't quite find the pass in towards Pepe after making an amazing little run, and he seemed to be trying to just do a little bit too much there, and the pass ended up just being too late going in towards Pepe and then too far in front of him as well. But the mentioning we used to see when I was younger as well, sort of 10, 15 years ago, player would get to 30, you were sort of saying, oh, they're into the back end of their career. Now you're looking at sort of 35, we're still seeing Messi and Ronaldo. They are two completely different type of players. You know, they are built, and the quality of them where they haven't had to do much. And a wonderful tackle at the back. Chance for Groningen. Saved by the keeper. Still inside the box, and it's over the top of the bar. And PSV living dangerously over on the far side. It was an excellent challenge from Clement to win the ball. And as he tried to go from goal, tight on the angle, Perisic, we're talking about aging like fine wine. He certainly looked like an older version of himself there as Clement won the ball back. Played it then through Perisic's legs. Dinked it forward in towards the area, and he tried to go for goal, but for a block from the keeper. And then the follow-up that came back out towards Van der Werf. Went over the top of the bar, but it's those types of chances that Groningen can't afford to waste too many times in this game. Still 1-1 is the scoreline. Obispo back in towards his centre-half partner of Flamingo. We've mentioned the changes that we've seen in this PSV side throughout the summer. It has been a complete overhaul. Ismail Saibari moving to Bayern Munich for a record fee for PSV, the Moroccan international. It was a major contribution to those 3 consecutive league titles. Joey Veerman, who did play in the last game for PSV, has now moved across to Borussia Dortmund. He left after 4.5 years, more than 8 trophies here in Eindhoven. Joel Dommel as well moved across to C20, the goalkeeper, after making 66 appearances, as PSV just trying to hold the ball on the right-hand side of the Groningen penalty area. The other was Myron Budu, whose contract ended as well. With Pepe now being the man who's going to be trusted to lead the line. For those in red and white, Groningen also made more signings than departures. Rezink and Postema both left. Rezink for Ezer Alkmaar. And Postema just left to allow some of the younger players to come in, but they brought in Land on a loan from PSV, Clement from Sparta Rotterdam, Janse as well from Trechin. And Singer, the centre-half, is on the right-hand side and is brought in towards the area again from Fernandez, but his shot at the goalkeeper was a bit of a P-roller and quite comfortable as it's bowled out towards his right-hand side by Vassin, who gets it in towards Van der Werf inside the PSV half as he's played forward again in towards De Jong, trying to stretch his legs down the right hand side and whips the ball all the way across, but it's too far in front of Williamson, who has to move his way across the left hand channel to pick up the loose pass. Retains possession under pressure from a number of red and white shirts, moving it back inside his own half in towards Singer. Goes in towards the midfield, in towards Land. Again, just trying to link up with the play, and then the final touch from Land. Looked like it went out for a throw to PSV, but the referee right under it gives Groningen the throw in just on the halfway line. 27 minutes gone in this contest. As Van der Werf seems to have moved himself more in towards the right back role from Schrouders, who looked to be the man that was starting there, 21-year-old Dutchman. But he's given away on this near side to Van Bommel. Breaks in towards the area, space down the left, and a superb challenge goes in from Singer. He had to get the block on to stop the cross in towards the area. It was an excellent opportunity for Eindhoven down the left-hand side. Van Bommel, who's already put in a cross from that position after he got hold of the ball. Cross that got the equaliser for the home faithful. This time read ever so well by Singer, who comes into the line at the 23-year-old Hungarian. Side from Gjord. Gives an extra size and flexibility across the back line, and another one with an international profile that they have brought in for this season to add a little bit as the referee just has a word. And a bit of a scuffle, Van Bommel. Van der Werf just having a little bit of handbags inside the box. The cross comes in towards the far side. The keeper just flaps at it, and the referee says it's come off the head of a PSV man last, and the goalkeeper there, Vassin, came off his line, was under pressure. There was 4 behind him. He may just have got a touch on that to flick it off onto the head of Van Bommel. And now to play for a goal kick. Keep you up to date with any scorelines going on around Europe this afternoon as well. There's some games that will start, as it's no games until later on inside the Dutch top flight. Cambuur against Feyenoord is only the game that will take place this afternoon. Brighton, Aston Villa in the English top flight, and Man City, Bournemouth all kick off in a minute's time. Angers and Lille also kicking off at the top of the hour. And I'll keep you up to date with those scores in Europe's top divisions. But here it's PSV 1, Groningen 1. An early shock that Groningen put on to PSV was instantly replied to by those in red and white. I'll try and get the words out eventually. As Peter Bosch's side have looked the better inside this first half, trying to find a way back in front. It's lofted over the top by Van Bommel. In towards Junior, stretching his legs, but he just can't quite get behind the defence again. And his crosses the pawn as he goes out of play for a goal kick, to which they will take a little bit more time to try and take this one. Will Groningen, they've got to slow the game down a little bit. Every time they're giving the ball away, they're finding themselves facing the wrong direction. And under a bit of pressure as well from a side that has plenty of quality, trying to find its feet. Over on the far side, a slight shove goes in towards the back, and on appeal, Till wins the free kick. It was Singer who just came across, just hugging the far touchline, and then just gave a little bit of a shove into the back of Till, and the referee took a little bit of convincing, but Till shouted loudest, and there's an opportunity for PSV to cross the ball into the box if they so desire, about 20 yards off the far right corner of the penalty area, but the angle just opens up the opportunity to put an excellent ball into the box. They're starting now to move the reinforcements in towards the penalty area as Flamingo and Obispo move their way in towards the box. Going to be whipped in from the far side in towards the front post, and it's almost found its way through in towards Obispo. An excellently timed ball in from the far side. Perisic, I think, got the last touch, came off his shoulder in towards Singer and out for a corner kick over on the far side. But it was a beautiful ball put on a button for Perisic, who just couldn't quite make the connection with his head, bounced off his shoulder. But they still have an opportunity to put the ball into the box here. There's 6 inside the area wearing red, 5 moving now inside the 6-yard box, so the runners go towards the near post. Ball goes in towards the centre, and it's just palmed away by Vicent, and then cleared out on a second attempt by Van der Werf in hope more than expectation in towards the PSV half, and they'll just comfortably move it back towards Kovar in the goal from Fernandez, who retrieves the ball back again. Plenty of space in front of him now to just stride in towards the Groningen half away to our left-hand side. There's no real options for him, so we'll bring it back towards Flamingo. Moved across in towards Perisic on the right-hand side with a cushion header down in the middle towards Sano. Linking back up with one of those new boys that has come in. Played back towards the edge of the area, and a fine save forced by the goalkeeper. It was Till once again, just picked out on the edge of the area. He turned on a dime as the keeper's almost given the ball away there straight from clearing it out. It was poor, and the pocket has been picked, and then frustration from Till as the free kick rather harshly goes against him. 33 minutes in this game, but it's Perisic with a lovely time ball across the ground into the path of Till, who took it on his right and just turned it beautifully on towards his left as he tried to drive it in towards the bottom left-hand corner of Vassen's goal. The keeper read it beautifully and got down low towards his left-hand side. PSV trying to win the ball back and find the lead here with Van Bommel again down the left-hand side. Puts an early cross towards the far side of the pitch looking for Till. Goes over the top of Till's head, but across Dest will come to pick up the loose ball. The former Barcelona man takes it onto his left, just on the right-hand corner of the penalty area, and just sees that he hasn't got a bit of opportunity to turn and go forward, so he goes sideways instead. Beautifully done towards the left-hand side and played in towards Junior, the captain, whose first-time cross is blocked, but he wins the ball back once again. PSV relentless on the ball and in possession. Now with Van Bommel again, 5 yards off the near touchline, level with the edge of the Groningen penalty area. Retreats back towards Flamingo, looks towards the far side, an excellent ball in towards Perisic, header back across, is plucked out of the sky by Vicent, who tries to go early and set free Clement down the left-hand side. He couldn't make the connection moments ago, trying the same thing, and he didn't make the connection on that occasion as well. And now Attack turns to defence almost instantly from Till, again down the right hand side, goes for a strike, and it can't quite make its way out of play, and Prince just has to get a touch onto it and put it out for a throw-in. And the pressure starting to mount on Dick Lukien's Groningen side. He's tried to build Groningen around organisation, youth development, and a willingness to attack quickly once possession turns over. You can see that every time the keeper gets the ball, but it's Van Bommel down the left-hand side, trying to get another cross in towards the post, goes all the way through, and it's tucked away from Perisic. And the turnaround is complete inside the first half. And PSV, they click into gear, and the champions are back it up. The champions are in front. PSV light up Eindhoven, and the red and white machine moves in front. And Groningen's perfect start is now well under pressure. It took time in this game for them to ignite, but Eindhoven have found the fire and the flame. And Van Bommel once again, a superb run down the left-hand side. Schrouders cannot live with him. He just ran around him on towards the near side, drove towards the byline, kept it in play, and his ball back through that corridor of uncertainty, finding Perisic at the far post with one of the easiest goals he will score in his illustrious career. And it's PSV 2, Groningen 1. And in his last 5 games, Perisic, 3 goals, 3 assists to his name. And he gave a right old fist bump when that hit the back of the neck. Didn't have to move too much. But what a goal that was from Van Bommel. And Groningen really need to try and shore up this left-hand side. He's having the time of his life. He's the 22-year-old Dutchman, got that football bloodline everywhere. He's the grandson of Bert van Marwijk as well. He's back from a major knee injury, scored after 5 minutes against Excelsior. And now he has 2 assists to his name in this contest. Although I'm not too sure, it depends on the league if you get given the assists on an own goal. Personally, you should always be given an assist on an own goal if you create it. But he's having a wonderful first half, and the PSV fans in the stands here in Eindhoven will be much more relieved that one, as Brighton had taken an early lead against Aston Villa over in the English top flight there. In Switzerland, it's 2-2 between Young Boys and Vaduz. The second half kicking off, just 5 minutes to go, and I'll keep you up to date with that one, and we'll find out in a moment who scored. For Brighton and Hove Albion against Aston Villa is a free kick. Oh, it looked like it should have gone PSV's way, and Till is protesting on the floor, as are a number of PSV players. As I think it's actually gone against Till instead. It certainly looked like it was going to be a free kick one way or the other. No, the referee has pointed in the direction of the Groningen goal, so it will be a free kick to PSV in an excellent position, 15 yards off the right-hand side of the penalty area, level with the edge, with the right-hand line of the penalty area. There's 6 making their way in towards the box. Flamingo is 1. Standing over it is Till, going to lay an in-swinger in towards the penalty spot, looking towards Perisic, but it's cleared out nicely by Singer. There's nobody up there for Groningen, who were sat back doing the defensive work. It was a Lindelof own goal in the Brighton Aston Villa game. City and Bournemouth also kicking off as well at the same time 8 minutes ago. They may have started a bit late. I think they only kicked off about 5 minutes ago. The Man City Bournemouth game, Angers and Lille kicking off at the correct time. They're still 0-0 in the early phases, but in the first half here of a game that always tends to have goals, PSV love to score against Groningen. There's been plenty of shake-ups in the league as well. There's Groningen trying to get their attack on. They're looking to go from left to right quite quickly, but it just wouldn't sit with them. And PSV pick up the ball inside their own half. They do look to try and make their way forward Lukien was mentioning that's what he wanted from his side. You can see the intent is there. It's only scored 4 goals against ADO Den Haag in the last game. They just kept catching them in behind. But as I say, plenty of changes throughout the league. The 3 sides that came up: Den Haag, Cambuur, who play against Feyenoord later today, and Willem, 2 other 3 promoted teams, Breda, Heracles, Almelo, and Almelo all went down. Heracles Almelo went down automatically, with Volendam losing in that promotion relegation playoff final to Willem 2 after a 3-3 aggregate draw in that penalty shootout. It's been 5 years since Den Haag have been back in the top flight. And Bur's 3 seasons away. And Willem back after being relegated in the 2025 season. Surely will be a few changes in and around those promotion race in the second tier this time, as it's played again forward down the right hand side, looking for the run of Willemsen, trying to turn and drive in towards the box, but he just runs into traffic and PSV clear the lines. It's though picked up on the near right hand side by Schrouders, playing higher, lays it in towards Van der Werf, who can try and get a cross in towards the box, try to play it across the edge of the area. He goes all the way through towards the far side in towards Prince. Just off the left-hand corner, 4 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Lille have scored against Angers 1-0. They lead on the road in the French top flight. Back with Blokziel, the man who conceded the own goal that levelled it for PSV in the 11th minute of this contest. No way forward, though, for those in purple. They're moving themselves back into their own half, and they'll try and just start and spring themselves to life again from deep inside their own territory. But excellent defending that is applauded by the home fans, from pushing Groningen all the way back deep inside their own half as a long ball comes forward, looking for Van Bergen. It's played for the defender's head, and he's going to stay in play down this near right hand side, and then it's just played into touch under pressure from Clement, who was getting himself deep into this near right hand channel to put a bit of pressure on Junior at the back, and he made no qualms about what his intent was there, Junior. That was just to get rid of the ball, and it's what we love to see. I used to always say when we were a kid growing up, if in doubt, get it out. And that's what he did there. But PSV back on the ball once more with 3 minutes to go in this first half. This is the 71st season of the Dutch top flight. The campaign marks 70 years since the competition was launched in 1956. And hopefully it will be a memorable one for one of these two sides. PSV tend to have a memorable one. They've had a memorable one the last 3 seasons, winning the league on all 3 occasions. Now the others would love to try and upend them as a ball looking towards Van Bommel, just too far in front of him, and his outstretched right leg couldn't quite get hold of possession. Rolled out towards Schrouders on this near right hand side, plays it in towards the middle, but that pressure high up the pitch from PSV, stopping any real momentum and attack. And then the long ball from Schrouders goes out of play for a throw-in on the halfway line to the home side. There's been some coaching churns as well in the Division 7 of the 18 clubs that began this season with have a different head coach from the end of last season. Ajax, Feyenoord, Utrecht, Go Ahead Eagles, Sparta Rotterdam, Telstar and promoted Cambuur, all with different head coaches and managers in charge of the sides, as PSV lose the ball inside their own half, and then they win it back again before Lang wins a free kick. It was taken out and closed down by 2. Fernandez was one that just came around with the slide tackle, but the referee adjudged that it was just a little bit too hard, as Young Boys have taken the lead against Vaduz 3-2 there in the Swiss top flight. Striding forward is Van Bommel, space to run, driving towards the area, the shot then comes in, and it's a tame one from Till, and it's comfortable for the goalkeeper. Van Bommel still down on the ground following the strike. He's claiming for a foul, but Till just striding forward. It was a poor effort from De Jong in the midfield. He just stopped running and chasing Till. Whether he's injured, I'm not too sure, but he seems to just give up on chasing down Van Bommel, who's been causing a world of trouble in this game. Questions should be asked of him at half-time for that lack of effort there. Van Bommel then laid it in towards Till, who took it in his stride and tried to go for a strike back across Varsin, but he just didn't make a confident connection. And it was a very easy save by the Suriname goalkeeper. And there is a check that is currently being made about whether there may be a penalty shout here for PSV. VAR is checking this. 45 minutes has gone on the clock. 1 minute has been added by the fourth official. But it could be the most important minute of this game. Groningen have a chance at half-time if they are only a goal down, but the referee's going to make his way over to the monitor. Joren Manschot on VAR has called over Allard Linghout to have a look, and it was as Till took the strike. They're claiming that Singer just stood on his foot, and I think they are right here. I would be very surprised if this isn't overturned and given as a penalty. The strike had already been made from Till, but the foot that's just gone onto his ankle was poor from Singer. And I don't think the referee has any doubts. He moves away from the monitor. It's a penalty to PSV. Singer just standing on Till as he tried to take the strike. And a real opportunity for PSV to double their advantage right at the end of this first half. Etienne Vassin has saved 5 of the 40 penalties that he's faced previously. He's not saved any of the last 15 penalties that he has faced. It's Perisic who has the ball on the ground as Vassin just taking his time to get himself back onto his goal line. Perisic, who in his 14 penalties has scored 10. He's missed 4. He's not missed since October 2019 against Varson, who hasn't saved one. He's given it actually across towards Pepe to score against his former club and tucks it away, and PSV lead by 3-1. A tame celebration, but PSV right on the stroke of half-time double their advantage. And it goes from bad to worse right at the end of the first 45 minutes. Singer gave the penalty away from Till taking the strike. It was a poor challenge from the Hungarian centre-back who's come into this game. And then up step Pepe against his former side. 10 penalties. He's had previously, he's scored 8, including his last 4, now 5 for Eindhoven. And he was not missing there, and we're still playing advantage. The referee's added another couple of minutes onto the time, and driving down the right-hand side was Perisic once again, and holds his hand up as he just puts it in towards the stands behind the goal. Initially the referee added 1 minute, and then because of the check added a further 3. We are coming up to the end of the 4 minutes have been added on, and Perisic was the man that looked to be taken before he gave it to Pepe, who put the ball down quickly. The referee blew his whistle, almost like they really wanted to get on with it. And Pepe confidently tucking it in towards the bottom left-hand corner. The keeper going the wrong way, and that signals half-time. And another half where PSV have controlled it against Groningen. 3 goals they've scored in 7 of the last 9 times they have now met. Williamson opened a scoring though for Groningen in a surprise opener. Groningen started well. An excellent counter from left to right, fed in towards Williamson on the right, who just tucked it in towards the far corner of Kovar's goal. But less than 2 minutes later, a wonderful run from Van Bommel, just off the near left-hand touchline, drove it in towards the box, and his cross couldn't be cleared by Boxil, who put it in to his own goal. 2 blocks then on the line from Singer and from Varson, denying PSV a second before Perisic did get a second after another wonderful run from Van Bommel down the left-hand side, cutting it back through the corridor of uncertainty, and Perisic was there to stab it home from 5 yards out. Then right on the stroke of half-time, another run from Van Bommel, feeding it in towards Till. He was fouled in the process of shooting. VAR had a little look, called over the referee Linghart, who pointed to the spot, and then up stepped Pepe to send the keeper the wrong way. And at half-time, it's PSV 3, Groningen 1. Good afternoon and welcome back to Eindhoven. It's the City of Light, where one of the brightest early starters in the league have found themselves 3-1 behind on the road to the three-time consecutive champions, PSV Eindhoven. Second half is almost underway. That late goal right at the end of the first half is what separates a bit of hope for Groningen and what feels like a formality for them. They've made one change at half-time themselves, taking off Schrouders down the right-hand side and bringing on Arendt to try and shore it up against Van Bommel, who's had an absolute wonderful time on the left. He's got 2 assists to his name. He assisted the set-up to the penalty as well when his ball in towards Till. But we're back underway for the second half here. PSV going from left to right in their red and white striped shirts, black shorts and white socks with red hoops, and the all purple of Groningen, who therefore will have worked out, going from right to left as the early ball went out for a goal kick. And the other games that are going on over in England, Brighton are beating Aston Villa inside 40 minutes by 4-0. And City, the new look Man City, losing at home to Bournemouth by 1-0 as well. Lille beating Angers 2-0 inside the first half. Groningen trying to find a way back in right at the start of the second half, down the left-hand side, and forcing Kovar into a good save was Willemsen. He had the space, he had the opportunity, he just tried to open up the angle back on towards his right under pressure from Flamingo, but couldn't quite generate enough onto it, and the keeper getting down ever so well, forcing out for a corner kick. I'll run you through the teams after the corner kick has ended. He's played in towards the near post. It's a poor one and cleared out on this near side. So Kovar is still in goal for PSV, who haven't changed their side from that first half. Dest, Obispo, Flamingo and Captain Junior are the back for Sano, and Fernandez sitting just in front. Perisic on the right, Van Bommel on the left, and Till in the middle. The three behind the former Groningen front man Pepe. For the away side, which is with Vassen right now trying to clear it towards the halfway line and just about doing that well enough. But then the pocket's picked and was trying to skip around the corner and trying to draw in a foul on this near side. It was Fernandez who gets no luck as it's moved across towards the far side of the pitch towards Van der Werf, trying to take on Van Bommel, who's doing his defensive duties, and the back in towards the halfway line. So Vassen is the goalkeeper. Rent takes over from Schrouders on the far side of the pitch. Blokziel, the captain, and Singer, the two centre-halves, with Prins, the man at left-back. De Jong and Land, the two sitting just in front. Van der Werf, Van Bergen and Clement are the three behind Willemsen, who scored Groningen's goal and has scored in all three of the opening games to the season in the league so far, hoping that they can try and find something in this second half. It's a ground that they never really have too much fruitfulness on. PSV always come out with the win. Just once Groningen have come away with the win here in Eindhoven, but they're trying to start the second half the way they started the first, with a little bit of pressure. Van der Werf tries to get a cross in towards the box, but it's blocked comfortably by Dest on this near side. Trying to flick it in around the corner is Clement, and the referee gives the throw in instead to PSV. He just couldn't quite make the cross. There's also games going on in the Dutch Cup, in the German Cup. My apologies should say the one thing about some of the European competition, especially their cups, is big sides can face the lower sides. They come in from the first round, but the higher opposition will always be put as the away team, which I really like. There's an excellent run down the left-hand side from Van Bommel once again, and across this time comes Rente, who gets there along with Vassen to force it out for a corner kick. And immediately after coming on, Rente is going to need a bit of treatment on the right-hand side of the penalty area. It's his own keeper that came with his knees into the back of the 29-year-old German. He's an experienced German centre-half. He's been injured recently, making his absence particularly significant in what has been a young back line for Groningen, and he's now back in and could well be back out almost 5 minutes into returning to the side, and it's his goalkeeper that's caused the injury more than anything else. And in that German Cup, Magdeburg are beating Bachinga by a goal to nil. Darmstadt are beating Karl Zeiss Jena by a goal to nil as well. Dynamo Dresden are winning on the road against lower league opposition. Saw Bayer Leverkusen win 4-0 yesterday. A couple of big results as well. We haven't seen too many big results in the early rounds of the Dutch top flight. We have seen plenty of goals going in though. Yesterday 3-3 Sparta, Rotterdam and Utrecht, 2-2 between Ajax and Heerenveen. There's 4 goals in the game between Twente and Zwolle. 2-2 Feyenoord, go-ahead Eagles. 5 goals in Groningen's last game. Both teams to score on very many occasions. 5 goals as well between Utrecht and Alkmaar Willem against NEC. And the biggest result was probably the first of the campaign. So on either side, where newly promoted Cambuur lost 4-0 at home to Excelsior. As Groningen currently down towards 10 men, and the referee happy for the corner to come in towards the far side, and it's over the top of the bar from Flamingo. He just didn't quite get the connection he would have liked at the far post. He's on the ground as well, off the pitch on the near side. I think as he's come down to the ground, Singer's just come over the top of him, and he's just felt a little bit of a brunt into his back. With 6 minutes into the second half, Arente is walking very, very sheepishly over on the far side, and he's holding that right hip of his. And I don't think he can continue in this game. He's given a slight shake of his head to the physio, and the man that has just come on for Groningen to try and shore things up on the right-hand side of the defence is now going to have to make his way off. The other 2 defenders that they've got on the bench, in Travis Herners and Nicolas Brandis, both 20 and 21, still very, very young. Sorry, Brandis and Van der Laan, still very young, 21 and 18 years of age. One of those players is likely going to be the man to replace the experienced right back, but still down to 10 men, and PSV trying to take advantage of it. He's now on the ground again and need a little bit of support to get off the pitch as well, Rente. PSV back to their fuller complement now that Flamingo is back onto the pitch, but trying to make full advantage. 7 minutes into the second half, you're listening to unofficial off-tube commentary. Watch the game wherever it is available where you are, but you can listen to it with us here. As PSV have the ball deep behind the back line in towards Perisic, and it's 4-1. And it's a delightful finish on the left-hand side of the box. And Perisic, the man, with his second of the game. And we said they were trying to take advantage of having the extra man. And as Rente is stretching off behind the goal, he's got to listen to the PSV fans celebrate once again. It's the position where he would have been, marking Perisic on that right-hand side of the back line. Instead, it was comfortable. It was played through. Upstek Blockzeal out of position, and then Perisic keeping himself onside goes across the goal, and it's 4-1 8 minutes into this second half, and that is pretty much game, set and match. Perisic with his second. It's PSV 4, Groningen 1, and it's his 4th goal in his last 5 league games. And Brandis is the man that has made his way off for Marco Rente. So the substitute is substitute, and the 21-year-old Slovakian from AJS Trenčín, the academy graduate there. The 19 games on loan at Puchov. He became a first-team regular last season with 22 top-flight appearances and his first senior league goal. He will now occupy that defensive position. As coming forward down the left-hand side is Clement. trying to find an early consolation goal or a way back into this game. 10 minutes into the second half here in Eindhoven. Eintracht Braunschweig have taken the lead against Union Berlin in a surprise scoreline over in the German Cup there. The second division side always teetering with relegation. They never really have too much to keep themselves up into the top half. It's the corner going to be swung in from the near side from Groningen. Flicked out of play though by a PSV defender. Come back in towards the middle. And it's there for Brandis, who can't quite get his header onto it. And now the counter-attack is on for PSV. 2-on-1, laid across. Surely an opportunity. Brought back again, and it's 5-1. And it's just simple play. De Jong gets his goal. Dest gets the goal. And it was simple as you like from PSV. From the Groningen corner. The counter-attack was on from left to right. Brandis, the man who's only just come on, it was his first touch since making his way onto the pitch. He didn't get his header right. He fell down kindly in towards the middle, and then the counter-attack was on. 2-on-1 at the back, leaving the Groningen defenders for dead. It was laid across from Dest towards the left-hand side. Back in towards Van Bommel. Under pressure from the keeper. Plays it again towards the right-hand side in towards Dest. And he just hammers it in towards the roof of the net. It's PSV 5, Groningen 1. There was a slight check from VAR to see if Dest was onside, but he gets his fourth goal in his 84th Dutch top flight appearance. He doesn't score too many, does the American. The former Ajax, Barcelona and AC Milan fullback. Provided 5 assists last season. Already got 1 this term. Cross for Pepe's winner at Excelsior. And it's a very, very simple afternoon for PSV after a very, very poor start to this game. They're controlling it. And they're going to run away with it as well. After 9 minutes, we were potentially looking at a wonderful upset that may have happened for the away side, but regular service has been restored over at England. In the top flight, Brighton in extra time against Aston Villa, still 4-0. Man City still losing at home, going into half-time against Bournemouth by a goal to nil. Lille leading 2-0 on the road against Angers in the French top flight as well. Cambuur Feyenoord is the game after this as Groningen tried to make their way forward, but we're seeing the PSV of last season, the 3 consecutive titles. 19 points clear of runners-up Feyenoord last season, the biggest championship margin in Dutch top flight history. 101 goals, the third successive 100 league goal season. The football remained recognisably Bosch aggressive positioning, high fullbacks and overloading the middle of the pitch as well, and that's just what they've been doing this afternoon. The Groningen, well, their 9th place finish last season with 48 points, 14 wins, 6 draws, 14 defeats, and scoring 49 and 45 going against them. That position was enough for them to reach the European playoff, but it's end the season and for them and reinforcing a sense of progress that they've had under Dick Lukian. And we've seen that at the start of this campaign as well, with the 2 wins that they opened their league campaign with. But they have come up against the toughest of oppositions in the toughest of grounds in this division. It is a bogey side for them, regardless of if they are still the 3-time back-to-back champions. It's still a place where they struggle to go on the best of times. In the league, there's been plenty of sides trying to reset to compete. Ajax have a former Girona coach, Mikel, after a chaotic 5th place season for them. Some have been unusually high profile. Ter Stegen arrived on loan for Barcelona. Brandt as well joined on a free agent, and Brazilian striker Marcos Leonardo cost just under 20 million euros as the ball down the left-hand side. Looks like it's gone out for a corner kick to PSV, and the referee, I think, has pointed for a goal kick. He has indeed, and it certainly was being protested by those fans behind the goal, and it's taken quickly and moved towards the left-hand side as Groningen look to try and get the ball forward, but it's deflecting it out for a throw-in. Feyenoord as well. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst returned for a second spell after Van Persie was dismissed, despite finishing second in the league. Ahmed Odic, the centre-half, left for Burnley on the 20th of August after 36 appearances for him. We've already mentioned PSV's upheaval, and 20 are trying to make a statement as well. They brought Weghorst back to his home region from Ajax on a 2-year deal. The 52-cap Dutch striker called it the final football dream he still wanted to fulfill. He also brought back Zerouki, returning to life at 20 for the current season. But there are fewer prizes on offer in Europe in the league. Only 5 European tickets are attached to the 26-27 Dutch domestic season, down from 6 last year after the Netherlands slipped behind Portugal in the coefficient rankings. The champion goes directly into the main European competition league phase. Second will enter the qualifying for it. Third goes into the second tier qualifiers, and then the cup winner goes into the league phase for the second tier before the European playoff winner enters the third tier European competition. But the one side that we know will likely be in one of those will be PSV. It would be a real shock to the system if that wasn't to happen, and it would be a real shock if anything was to change in this game as well. You're listening to unofficial off-tube commentary. It's PSV 5, Groningen 1. After an excellent start from the away side, they took the lead on the road inside 9 minutes. That was as good as it was going to get. It lasted just less than 2 minutes for PSV to find their footing and way back into the game. And from there on out, it has been all those in red and white, and it could be better here on the right-hand side. Tucked around the keeper, Pepe. Oh, he can't find a way in. And that was a gilt-edged chance for Pepe to find his second of the game. He scored a penalty right on the end of the first half, and it was just simple football, lifting it over the top of a hapless back line from Fernandes into the path of Van Bommel, who did ever so well with a sliding tackle to get down and just spread it across the right towards Pepe. He only had the keeper to beat. He took it onto his left, but he couldn't get his feet right, and it allows the defender to come in and just challenge him enough that his foot couldn't make connection with the ball the way that he might have hoped as it trickled past the post. Really should have been 6 for the home side. They've still got plenty of time to find a 6th goal. The away side at this stage just want to go home. They've still got 26 minutes to play in this game as the ball whipped in towards the area once again, cleared out towards the edge of the box by those in purple. Second ball though sent back in towards Till. Got one to try and beat in block. Zell making his way across is the Groningen captain. Everybody behind the ball despite being 5 goals down, and I think they've just got to preserve their goal difference at this point of the season. They won 4-1 in their last game, Groningen. That's been wiped out, and it could get bad to worse. Pepe again just crowded out by 3 players in purple. Move towards the left hand side. Runner now goes in towards the box, pulled back across, and then just bobbles once in front of Hussein, and comfortable in the end for the goalkeeper. He would have had his heart in his mouth for a moment and expecting to pick the ball out of his net for a 6th time, but the connection just wasn't made, and it just wasn't as good as it would have been like from a PSV perspective. Half time it is in the early game, in the games that kicked off half an hour after this one over in England. Brighton 4, Aston Villa 0, Man City 0, Bournemouth 1 in the surprise result so far over in that league. Lille leading by 2-0 against Angers in the French top flight. And Borussia Mönchengladbach have a 2-goal lead as a strike goes from the edge of the box again for PSV, but over the top of the bar. It was Van Bommel once more trying to get himself on the score sheets after assisting 2, but couldn't quite keep his strike down. But it is, apart from Union Berlin, the sides in the higher league leading in the Dutch Cup this afternoon. Tends to go that way. Rommel and Westerlo also kicking off shortly in the Belgian top flight. I won't run you through every game that's going on today, just the major ones across some of the top divisions in Europe this afternoon. Not too many games going on. There will be throughout the day though, so keep an eye on them. Cambuur Feyenoord in the Dutch league kicks off after this, but 25 minutes to go. We already know which way this game is heading towards us. Van Bommel trying to stretch his legs down the left-hand side, and for the first time he's been beaten to it, and this time it was Brandis as substitute, just getting himself between man and ball, getting it in front and then clearing his lines as well with superb defending. Van Bommel's had the time of his life on that left-hand side, but on that occasion it was a young 21-year-old Slovakian right-back who just did enough, and maybe 2 more changes for the away side. Willemsen and Van der Werf will be making their way off. Willemsen adding to his good start to the season, regardless of the scoreline for him. 3 goals in 3 games, 1 in each of the games he makes his way off for Ondrejka, the 23-year-old Swedish international winger on loan from Parma. And coming on off is also Van der Werf for Van der Laan, the 18-year-old Swedish defender, born on the 29th of February 2008. He's a leap day birthday man, so depending on how you see it, is he actually 18 or is he 4.5? Who knows? Who's coming off for PSV will be Van Bommel. He's had an excellent game. He clocked in at just over 35 kilometres an hour. Fernandez also making his way off as Wana and Buhami. Hamdi make their way on. Wana, who dropped to the bench for this contest, his way on, but Van Bommel was on a booking despite having a wonderful game, and he couldn't be risked. Potentially come off, and Noah Fernandez, the 18-year-old, scored in PSV's final league match before the summer, and again in the season's opener, having an excellent time in the midfield for the host. Also makes his way off. So a couple of changes for both sides as the game is heading towards a direction we all know it's going to end up in. But there is certainly chance and potential for some players to add to their own personal stats, to add to their own history of this fixture at least. But at the moment it's looking like one of the most comfortable wins in the league this season. We mentioned it hasn't really been a complete routing of any side, bar Excelsior's 4-0 win at the start of the season against Cambuur. Well, it's looking like this will be the first. 5-1 is the scoreline now, and it could very well be more unless Groningen can pull one back with 22 minutes to go, as Ondrejka can't quite get the first touch right. It just allows the PSV defenders to get hold of the ball and to make their way forward. 20 minutes then to go in this contest. You're listening to unofficial off-tube commentary of PSV Groningen here in Eindhoven. 5-1 is the scoreline. have been new rules brought into the league this season. Some of those we saw during the summer competitions. The 10-second penalty rule. A 7-second substitute rule that was brought in as well. Restarts as well being counted down by referees as PSV once again over on the far side of the pitch, just trying to open up the angle and the space to get a cross in towards the box. There's 2 inside the area, 3 lurking on the edge of it for the home side, and Desti is one of them making his way forward. Flamingo though is asking for the ball halfway inside the Groningen half. Space to move it down the right hand channel, comes towards Perisic, opportunity to put it in towards the box, pulls it back onto his left, and then a superb block comes in from Prinz to stop the ball being put into the danger zone by Perisic. The goalkeeper rule, the 8-second goalkeeper rule, which if you actually saw that implemented last season, do write on a postcard. Personally, don't think I saw that. Maybe I saw it once happen all season. So across European games, it tends to be one of those rules that gets implemented for 1 or 2 games before being quietly cancelled out. I've certainly seen goalkeepers hold on to the ball for longer than 8 seconds in one of those rule changes, but one of the biggest differences this season is for the first time ever, the September and October international windows will be combined. So the Dutch league therefore has 2 consecutive league-free weekends at the end of September and start of October. But it does mean there will be that period inside October, which will have a few more games and dates available, and it means that there's less hassle as teams play more games in quick succession. As the ball again down the left hand side for PSV, they'll have another corner kick, controlling this game, trying to add more to it. They're confident on the ball, and as it stands, they'll be moving themselves up the table. It's played in towards the near post by Perisic, but headed out nicely on the far side, but it's still with the home side again, looking to put a ball in towards the box, but it's cleared out by the substitute Ondrejka. Halfway inside his own half again though, and will be picked up by those in purple who really just want this game to end. They're struggling to enjoy the afternoon. They'll find themselves dropping below PSV in the table, who move up to 3rd with that plus 5 goal difference, 7 points on the same points as Go Ahead Eagles. If they do get another, they'll move into 2nd place in the league table. They both share the same amount of wins, goal difference, points, goals scored and goals conceded of 9 and 4. But they come down the left-hand side, trying to add a 6. Oh, back across the box, and the block goes in again. And it's another corner kick to PSV. Relentless in this contest. They're not giving an inch to Groningen. They're tiring them out. They're trying to add more. They've had 19 shots to Groningen's 7 in this game. It's their 5th corner of the afternoon from the far side, as they're looking to make another change as well are the home side. They've made 2 already, looking to make a 3rd as it's whipped in, this time towards the centre of the box, but cleared out again by Groningen, who stand up well, but they could only just about push it towards the halfway line, and that's as far as they'll go out of danger. Villemongé is back underway for the second half there, with the away side leading by 2-0. 16 minutes to play in this game. The formality that this game has turned into. Is certainly going to be one that the home fans will enjoy, and they'll be enjoying the final 15 minutes of this contest. Filip Kostic is readying himself on the near side, as is Dennis Mann. And it's not what Groningen want to see. He's a 27-year-old forward making his way on, the Romanian international. He's played in the Italian top flight. A memorable PSV highlight for him was last season, his 2 goals in the 6-2 European win over Napoli in what was a wonderful game here, which I had the privilege to commentate on. And he'll make his way on, as will Kostic, the 33-year-old Serbian defender, former Groningen winner, returning to a fixture where he has history. Mario Junior and Perisic will be the ones to make the way off. Perisic with 2 goals to his name. Makes his way off to a standing ovation from the home faithful. Kostic, 9 goals, 7 league assists for Groningen in the 2013-14 season, including a goal and assist in their 3-2 win here. The last time they won here in 2014. He makes his way on, and Junior, the captain, makes his way off. So some history being made for Kostic. He'll enjoy coming on against his former side. He may be a little bit more kinder towards the Groningen side, of which he just had personal history. But on a day that's been more than straightforward for the home side, the away side just trying to see it out. The game's in the English top flight back underway. Brighton leading 4-0 at the start of the second half, with Bournemouth leading by a goal to against Man City 1-0. 2 minutes gone in the second half there, as it's played through in towards Kovar, who hasn't had too much to do in the box away to our left-hand side. He certainly found it relatively easy and easy going. And Kostic with his PSV debut against his former club. What a moment for him. These two managers look on from the near side. Botson, Lukien, they're 2 of the 3 longest serving current managers in the Dutch top flight. Both have been in the post since summer 2023. Alongside Fortuna Sittard's boss Danny Buis. But it doesn't bode too well for the league when 2 of your top 3 longest serving coaches have only been in the job for 3 years or so. Going to swing it around the corner. On this near side was Dennis Mann. Couldn't quite find the pass, and then the opportunity for Groningen to try and counter over the top on the left-hand side. Good work and a good run goes in from the substitute. Brandes trying to then drive in towards the box, but he just was trying to do too much. He looked then towards Van Bergen, but by that point he'd already lost the momentum that he had, hadn't it allowed the defence to come across. And now PSV will try and counter-attack up at the other end with Des striding forward, and his pass is a loose one himself. And a little bit sloppy from both sides with 12 minutes to play in this contest. PSV leading by 5 goals to 0. My goals to 1. I should apologise. I should never give Groningen a disservice. They could have a second here. Racing down the left-hand side is Ondrejk. Pulls it back across, but it's cleared out for a corner kick. Getting back was Kostic, just about to do enough. And they just look like they've lost their legs, Groningen. They're trying to stride down the left-hand side. Ondrejk had the space in behind the back line. Tried to pull it across to the man on the far side of the pitch in Van der Laan. And Van Bergen. But across came the new man on the pitch, Kostic. Just a coolly playing out for a corner kick. There's still going to get the numbers forward, though, those in purple. 5-6 now inside the box. Played towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but it's headed out very well by Obispo. And then under pressure on the halfway line, and Groningen have to go back towards their goalkeeper away to the right-hand side. And it's the first time Vassen has really been able to have the ball outside of his own box in this second half. Just over 10 minutes to play before we find out how much time will be added on at the end of this very routine fixture. You're listening to unofficial off-tube commentary of this game and what has been simple football from the home side. They're not trying to do too much. Groningen, who had an excellent start to the season with that 2-1 opening day win against Utrecht, carried some immediate momentum into the 4-1 emphatic win against newly promoted Den Haag. Van Bergen, Willemsen, Van der Werf and Eggens scoring on that day for PSV. Well, they were disappointed with their Shield loss to AZ Alkmaar by 4-0. It was a brutal opening to their season. It felt even worse when they started the league campaign against Fortuna Sittard with a 2-2 draw. Flamingo and Noah Fernandez, the young man, scoring, with the latter scoring in the 92nd minute to equalise. And then since that moment, things have turned up for PSV. A 2-1 win against Excelsior 8 days ago now. Their first competitive victory. Van Bommel and Pepe, the scorers on that occasion. Both having a great game as well on this occasion, as well as it's worked down the left-hand side for the home team. Another corner will be won, the 6th of the afternoon. For those in red and white and the fans who have seen their side win comfortably time and time again over the last couple of years, applauding as Filip Kostic makes his way over in front of the home fans in the far corner to take an out-swinging corner. The 6 inside the area. The ball goes towards the far side of the box, in towards Flamingo, knocks it down towards the edge of the box, but the runner that was coming in Bouhamdi just came a little bit late. Still in possession though for those in red and white, as the header then goes towards the goal. But straight at the goalkeeper again from Flamingo, and he's going to get it out of his feet quickly and send it down the middle. But again, just like he has on a number of occasions, Vassen hasn't been able to find his target with that clearance. He looks to just spread the play as quickly as he can. They try to go from back to front and catch teams off guard. We'll see it throughout this season. They shouldn't change that tactic that's worked ever so well for them in the opening few rounds of the season. But coming up against PSV on the road, it's these types of games that if you are Groningen, it won't make you see, it can't break your season, but it can make it. Losing to PSV is not something that any side, other side really laughs at until they have at least faced PSV and come away with a result. Because it normally is a formality coming onto this ground. PSV, excellent home record. It'll be 6 wins in a row against Groningen. It'll be the 47th home game where Groningen have only won one. That one back in 2014. It could go from bad to worse here. Down the right hand side goes Dennis Mann, striding in towards the area. Got one to beat, pulls it back and then has a strike. And he took on Brandis ever so easily. Just feigned to his right, dragged it back onto his left, opened up the angle and then going for goal. The keeper had to get down low to his right hand side. There will be another change as well for the home side, with Gertrude lining himself up to make his way on. He's been warming up down this right hand side. Now he's going to come on for the final few minutes of this game. The corner from Kostic on the near side. Just a little bit of handbags going in inside the box. The referee just says we don't need any of that. It's a scoreline is done. Save yourselves for the next game at least, as the corner comes in towards the near side. Hacked behind his own goal by Clement, and out for another corner kick. Just over 6 minutes to play in this game. Brighton still leading by 4 goals with 10 minutes gone in the second half over in England, and also 10 minutes gone between Man City and Bournemouth. Bournemouth still lead by 1-0. Corner comes in, swinging straight into the hands of Vassen, and rather comfortable for the Suriname goalkeeper, who's not going to want to remember this day too much. It will be one that they'll need to shake off, move on from, and go to their next game. Both sides will certainly be looking at the next fixtures that they do have in 2 games' time. PSV play against Ajax, an Ajax side who will want to be an improved team on their last few seasons. They've got Utrecht away before that. Groningen Well, they're looking at Fortuna Sittard and FC20 in their next league campaign, next league games. With FC20 currently sitting in 12th place, and Fortuna Sittard in 8th with a win, a draw and a defeat. FC20 still have another game to play themselves, and if they win that they would go above Groningen in the table. As Obispo was the man who has just started to make his way off on the near side for the final change of the afternoon, or for the fourth change, of the afternoon. Fifth change and the final change of the afternoon, ignore me, for PSV. It's been one of those games for Gertruida, the 26-year-old Dutch defender. He arrived on loan from RB Leipzig on Friday. A 21-cap Dutch international, former Feyenoord captain. He made 28 appearances in the English top flight on loan at Sunderland last season. And now in a side looking to retain their title for the fourth season in a row. And with 4 minutes to play, down the right-hand side it is with Dennis Mann. Pulls it onto his right, but read this time beautifully by Brandis, who then draws the free kick and the foul as well inside. Foul and the free kick in the box. Mann, who tried to turn to his left this time, then pushed it to his right. That time it was read like a book by the Groningen defender. He goes out for a goal kick. 4 minutes then to play in this game. We knew that it was going to be a formality. Groningen were excellent in the opening 10 minutes before PSV found a way back in from a Blokzel own goal. They then went 2-1 ahead after more good work from Van Bommel in towards Perisic. Then right on the stroke of half-time, that penalty that went PSV's way was probably the huge moment in this game. And then in the second half, those two goals that they have scored early on in the second period just killed this game off. The home side was moving the ball between themselves and the back line, moving it across towards Dennis Mann on this right hand side. Has an overlap and a little bit of support as well from Dest. Pulls it back in towards the middle. Opportunity for PSV to try and find something else. If they can find another, they will go a position higher in the table. And that's what they may be searching for at this stage. Goal difference always makes a difference towards the end of the season. They love to score goals. Over 100 in their last 3 campaigns. Just about doing it with 101. They always want to improve. They always want to better themselves. They've had 21 shots, 11 on target. Groningen have had 7 with 4 on target. They've had a couple of good chances, Groningen, in the first half. It comes back out again for PSV. A pop shot, though, comes in from 30 yards. Takes a wicked deflection towards Dennis Mann on this near right-hand side. 5 yards off the edge of the penalty area. Space just opens up on the right again. Moved across towards Dennis Mann and then just closes it down. Dinks it in towards the corner of the box. The runner goes down from Till across the edge of the area. Edge of the 6-yard box, and Singer's there just to clear it out towards the halfway line. It's sent quickly though back by Flamingo again down the right hand side. Mann follows it on in towards the middle, floated into the area, but there was Vassena again just to pluck it out of the sky and get hold of the ball. If the referee has any sense, he will just allow this game to finish at the 90th minute for Groningen's benefit. They'll take 5-1 after being at that scoreline for the last 30 minutes or so. It could have been so much worse for the away side this afternoon. The home faithful, the home fans starting to make their way out. They've enjoyed it. They've certainly been treated to a fine afternoon, and I'm sure they'll enjoy a libation in the Dutch sun, as it's just going just about to go 4:30 on this Sunday afternoon. It's a lovely afternoon here in Eindhoven. Those in red and white are going to be very, very happy here. Just 30 seconds to play, plus whatever time the referee will add on. We have had 9 substitutes come on to the pitch. So will that be taken into account? There's been 2 goals as well. With no VAR checks in this second half, so as the 4th official makes his way to the side of the stand, how much time will they put this Groningen side through? Just 3 minutes have been added on. That's probably fair from the referee as PSV look to try and add a 6th late on in this game. Driving down the left-hand side, trying to take on that Groningen defence over on the far side is Bouhamdi, who wins a corner kick, and that will just whittle the time down. The Dutch fans, who you can have a drink in the stands here in the Netherlands, can't back home where I'm from in England, mainly because the fans are irritating. To be fair, I wouldn't trust English people. They love to throw pints nonsensically. It used to be a fun thing when a big goal went in, particularly after they played Croatia in the semi-final in 2018. And then you just get a load of people trying to do it for videos nowadays, going to certain places, throwing drinks in the air. It's an absolute nightmare. Don't get me anywhere near those places, at the ground or nowhere. We're just with friends normally. But wherever you are on this Sunday afternoon, I hope you have enjoyed this unofficial off-tube commentary. I know any PSV fans listening will have done. Any Groningen fans probably tuned out around half an hour ago, if they were pretty good fans. You've stayed till that point, well, fair play. If you stayed till the end, well, we should be giving you a Purple Heart medal to go with that purple jersey. Excellent, lovely purple jersey that the Groningen side have. They love a purple kit. You see plenty in Japanese football of all leagues. They love purple kits over there. As we're coming into the final 60 seconds of stoppage time here, Brighton still lead by 4 goals to 0 against Aston Villa with 27 minutes to go over in England. Bournemouth still leading with the same time left against Manchester City. No, nothing from Erling Haaland in that game at all. Mark Gay did have quite the miss to level things up. But so far so good for the away side. West Brom beat Burnley 3-1 in the English second tier. And later on, Newcastle against Liverpool. Kicks off in about an hour's time over there in the Dutch League. Coming up after this game, in about 20 minutes time, is Camber against Feyenoord, the side that finished second, looking to try and get some more points on the board for them this season. 4 points they've got from their opening 2 games, the same as Ajax and PSV both had. But here in Eindhoven, as the referee takes one look at his watch, we've got a few seconds remaining. Still with Groningen, trying to find a late chance here, but there is the final whistle, and a very, very comfortable afternoon for PSV. Started poorly with Williamson scoring for Groningen. An excellent counter-attack from left to right. Fed in towards Williamson on the right, who just sent it back across the goal. And a tidy finish to give Groningen what felt like the perfect start on the road for a side that's only won here once in 46 attempts. That soon ended, and now it's 1 in 47. Van Bommel, who had an excellent first half, racing down the left. His cross was put into the back of his own net for block Zeal. 2 blocks then went on the goal line from Singer and Varsens to stop PSV getting the turnaround almost instantaneously. Well, Perisic did complete the turnaround. Van Bommel again down the left-hand side, taking on Schrouders as he did more time and time again. Laid it across the corridor of uncertainty, and there was Perisic to poke home at the far post for 2-1. It looked like that was going to be the scoreline going into half-time before Singer fouled Till in the area after another good run and pass from Van Bommel. Upstep Pepe against his former side, to get his second goal of the season and sent the keeper the wrong way for a 3-1 half-time lead. The second half, Groningen tried to come out with a little bit of pace, but were then done as Perisic scored with Groningen down to 10 men after the substitute Rente was receiving treatment off the side. It was he who would have been in the position as it was fed in towards Perisic, who coolly slotted past the keeper's far left-hand post. 5-1 then came on the counter-attack. Lovely work down the left-hand side from Van Bommel, laying the cross in towards Dest, who just stabbed it into the roof of an open goal for 5-1. It could well have been more, it could well have been worse, but for PSV, they'll be happy. For Groningen, they'll be glad to have kept it down. Their unbeaten run to the start of the season for Groningen has ended. PSV climb above them. Their recovery to their opening 2 games is beginning. It's finished here. PSV Eindhoven 5, FC Groningen